Let's be real, AI tools are absolutely flooding our classrooms, and it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. But what if you could move beyond just reacting to the latest trend and actually become a strategic architect of AI in your school? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack a playbook to help you do exactly that. Okay, first, let's get a lay of the land here. A 2023 UNESCO Global Survey found something pretty staggering. While AI tools are being tried out in over 60% of schools in high-income countries, only 27% of teachers feel well prepared to use them. That is a massive gap between having the tech and being ready for it. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? With all this tech coming at us, how do we stop just reacting to the newest shiny app and start proactively picking tools that are actually going to help our students? The answer, you guessed it, is having a clear, actionable strategy. So the very first step, and this is a big one, is a fundamental shift in your mindset. You know, the most common mistake we make when a new technology comes along is starting with the tool itself. We're going to flip that script completely. And here it is, the core idea. It's so simple, but so powerful. The most successful, most impactful AI integration doesn't start by asking, hey, what can this cool AI do? Nope. It starts by asking, what do my students actually need right now? This is that crucial shift from a tech-first approach to a needs-first approach. Okay, so how do we figure out what that real need is? Well, a proper diagnosis isn't just one step. It's actually a two-part process. It's not enough to just spot an instructional problem. You also have to understand the people, the humans, who are going to be part of the solution. To do this right, we need to look through two different lenses. First, there's Kaufman's needs assessment. This helps us diagnose the what, that specific gap between where our students are and where we want them to be. But just as important is the who. That's where the concerns-based adoption model, or CBAM, comes in. It helps us understand the readiness, the worries, and all the concerns of the teachers who will be using these new tools. Take the story of Claire Mensa, an English teacher in London. She saw a really clear gap in her students' essay writing. The school even had this fancy AI writing tutor. But guess what? Teachers weren't using it. And why not? Because nobody had addressed their concerns, their fears about being replaced, or students losing their unique voice. This just goes to show you that understanding the who is every bit as important as identifying the what. All right, so with that foundation in place, let's get to the playbook itself. We've broken this whole strategic process down into 4 clear, repeatable steps that literally any educator can use. So here it is, the playbook. Step 1, diagnose the gap. You got to know the problem you're solving. Step 2, understand the tech. What are its real capabilities? Step 3, make the match. Connect the right tool to the right problem. And finally, step 4, design with purpose. This simple 4-step process is how you turn all that chaos into a really coherent strategy. Now let's really zoom in on steps 2 and 3, because this is where the magic happens. Once you've diagnosed your need, how in the world do you find and evaluate the right technology to meet it? Well, this is where a couple of really powerful frameworks come into play. The first framework is called TPACK. That stands for Technological, Pedagogical, and Content Knowledge. The big idea here is that truly effective tech integration happens right at the intersection of all 3. You have to ask, does this technology actually fit my teaching methods and my subject matter? TPACK makes sure the tech is serving your goals and not the other way around. And that leads to another really critical question you've got to ask yourself when you're looking at a new tool. Is this thing just a high-tech substitute for something I already do, or does it genuinely transform what's even possible in my classroom? This is where the SAMR model is just incredibly helpful. Think of it like a ladder. Down at the bottom, you have substitution. That's like using a computer to type an essay instead of a pen. As you climb, you get to augmentation, then modification, and finally, all the way at the top, redefinition. This is where the tech lets you design completely new tasks that were impossible before. The goal is always to try and climb that ladder. Let's look at Angela Osei's language class. A simple quiz app? That's augmentation. It's basically a more efficient flashcard. But a conversational chatbot? Now that's redefinition. It lets students have spontaneous, simulated conversations, creating a learning task that just wasn't conceivable at scale before. That's the kind of transformative power we should be aiming for. So after all this work, this needs-first strategic approach, what's the big payoff? What's the ultimate benefit of doing all this thinking up front? The payoff is huge. You are no longer just a passive consumer of whatever technology gets handed to you. You become a professional designer, a strategic architect of learning experiences.
You're using these powerful tools with real intention and expertise. It's all about agency.
This strategic mindset is also about equity, making sure the tech works for everyone. Take Celeste Okoro. She noticed an AI writing tool was giving weird feedback to her multilingual students because of their unique sentence structures. Instead of just throwing the tool out, she acted like an architect. She changed her lesson plan and taught students how to use the tool differently, making sure it became a helpful resource for all of them. That is the power of being strategic. So let's pull it all together. The core principles of this playbook are pretty simple, but they're incredibly powerful. First, always start with a real documented need. Second, balance the what, that instructional gap, with the who, teacher readiness. Then use frameworks like TPACK and SAMR to find that perfect match. And finally, always aim to transform tasks, not just swap out old tools for new ones, and keep a close eye on the impact to make sure it's equitable. At the end of the day, AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but it's not the teacher. You are the architect. So the question I want to leave you with is this: how will you use this playbook to redefine what's possible for your students?